במיוחד עם הים שאת מראה לנו מאחורה.
זה האי הפרטי שלי, בבקשה, מי שרוצה לבוא מוזמן.
כן, אנחנו די זקוקים לזה עכשיו.
לא למדנו שהאי הפרטי הוא בפנוכו.
הכל בסדר. הכל בסדר.
עד שמגיע שעת מבחן, ואז אנחנו רוצים...
לא, יותר קל, אני חושבת, לי לפחות עכשיו, מאשר במבחנים קודמים, אבל יש עוד מקום, שלא ינסו אותנו. אבל כן, זה לא קל. בעיקר מעייף, אני חושבת. מעייף נפשית.
זה משתייך לקבוצה של סבלנות עם מצבים קשים, נכון? זה הסוג שמתוך השלושה לא זכרת.
את מקשיבה לכל השיעורים.
אני מקשיבה, כמה שאפשר.
כן.
אז הנה, קיבלת את זה, אז קיבלת את זה. היא לא תשכחי.
אני דווקא את זה לא זכרתי.
זהו, אז עכשיו לא נשכח כבר.
נראה שזה היה סימן שאני צריכה לתרגל את זה עוד קצת. אז נתנו לי.
Hello.
היי.
Hi.
היי, אנילה.
Oh, I lost you. Where are you? Here you are. Hello, everybody. Now I can see you.
Hello, you.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Leora.
Hello.
Hi, Noah. Daniela, Gigi, Hagar. Okay.
I haven't been the last few times.
Hi. What's that, Daniela?
No, I'm sorry. I missed the last 1 or 2 times. I wasn't here.
Oh, well. That's okay. So, how is everybody? No opinion.
Okay, I'm having a really busy weeks, but I'm doing really good and slowly better and better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good. Yeah, sometimes keeping busy, you know, in such difficult times can be of some help. So, yeah, I mean, we hear even here in Switzerland, we hear how difficult it is, and that, you know, doesn't stop, and seems no solution, and this whole thing, isn't it? So what we will do something, I think, to begin with, where I have to put in the loudspeaker. So we will begin a little bit like we did last time, you know, same way, like really looking what's going on inside of us and giving it space. This is this whole thing, you know, when you feel like Noah, when kind of Noah's body expresses how she feels, then it's okay, you can stay like that, it's fine. Then you can give it some space, because we tend to forget that our mind basically has this natural spaciousness and then natural love, natural intelligence, which is always there. But then when we have these strong emotions, it looks as if they're filling up the whole thing, because we're kind of in the emotion. So, but we need to recognize them, and we need to accept them, and we just need to give them space. What we want to do normally, we think they should not be there, and then we want to chase them away, because of course, you know, we have studied so much about compassion, about emptiness, the nature of phenomena. And here we are still getting very tight about difficult situations, be it the neighbor, be it just the political situation, whatever. So then we kind of, how to say, we don't want to admit, we don't want to accept them, but they're just part of our life. You know, there's nothing we can do. But when we give them space and when we relax, it's this whole thing about relaxing. It's not about pulling yourself together, but it's about relaxing. Then we still have contact to the cortex where we can still think. Whereas if the strong emotions take over, then then there is no space. And then on top of it, we create actions with body and speech that are not so skillful and definitely don't create positive energy, create rather negative energy, and then that's it. But I'm not telling you that you should feel okay in this difficult situation. I'm not saying that. So please also, you yourself, don't put that demand on yourself, because you're a Bodhisattva and you know about emptiness and you know about karma and all these things, that then everything, you know, and you definitely heard the saying that everything is just like a dream. And then you go like, oh, so why does this affect me so much? Yeah. So this is, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel bad. I'm just saying that what we do is to be able to, I know it sounds contradicting, isn't it? Because when we give these difficult emotions space, then they're not so overwhelming. This is the thing. Yeah. And the verses that we're going to come to now, they're all about this, that they're actually helpers on the path. I know it sounds, you know, it's difficult for me to say these things, living in a very peaceful country. Or even if I come to Israel, you know, I still have a Swiss passport. So it's very difficult for me to tell you these things because I am not in that situation. And actually, this was my first thought when Boaz Amichai, when he asked me to come and teach in Israel. And I thought, like, you know, what right do I have to go there and talk to these people about karma and about compassion and about being patient and all these kinds of things, you know, people who have had families who went through the Holocaust. And so I felt like, you know, I don't know if it's skillful, or I don't know if it's helpful to talk about these things, actually. That's at the beginning. And this is why I didn't want to come, because I thought, like, you know, maybe it would be not understood in the right way. But then, of course, I asked my teacher, like Kittu Tenzin Rinpoche, and, you know, if you have a guru, really, just be happy about this, because just saying the name of the guru sometimes, and just thinking about your guru, which you do, of course, every day, it just opens up your heart, actually. So if you do have one, just be very happy. And really look for refuge. Yeah. So when you're not so well. So so I asked him, and then he said, yeah, it's okay, you can go. So so I thought, okay, then I'll come. And I'm happy that I came. You know, I'm happy that if it would have been for me, I wouldn't have come, because I thought it's far too big. It's far too big for people who are constantly facing these kinds of huge problems to talk to them about karma. I thought, you know, I have no right to do that. Maybe like this, yeah, because also it can be misunderstood. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I'm not telling you that you should feel okay in a difficult situation, or you should feel kind of happy, you know, as Shantideva says. We're not Shantideva. We take Shantideva as an example, as an inspiration. This is where we want to go, if you want to go that way. Now, if you say, oh, no, that's far too high for me. We have one here in Switzerland in the group. He said, no, thank you very much. I don't want to practice this. This is too difficult. So it's fine. You have every right to do that, you know. But the more you want this, the more you see that, wow, you know, the more you use your reasoning and you think like, with this kind of mind state, so with this kind of attitude, because I cannot control the outside situation, I might be able to have enough space in the mind to deal skillfully when things get really tough and difficult. Yeah. Because you see, I'm telling you, I have a Swiss passport, blah, 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 and all this. And I'm convinced that Switzerland will always be peaceful. I mean, what makes me think this? It's totally unreasonable, isn't it? Could change also. So then at least now, me here in Switzerland, I can train with smaller situations. So then when the bigger situations come, maybe I'll be able to deal with them skillfully. Again, don't forget, this is a discussion group. If you want to say something, just open up your microphone, say something, ask if you have questions or comments or whatever. You are very welcome to do that. Otherwise, we start with the reflection, meditation, making some space for whatever is going on. Yeah, as we learned last time, is like, if you can feel it, you can heal it. And it's like the painful emotion. And it's about healing. It's not about pushing it away. It's not about denial. It's not about suppressing. It's not about faking something. It's about really touching it with love and care and tenderness. Shall we do that? Otherwise, you see, if you think it's a bit too wishy-washy, kitschy, because it is a bit, you know, I don't deny that. So then you just do your own meditation and you just close the, you know, the sound, and then after about 20 minutes you come back. So that's fine. You know, if you think like, oof, if you think this doesn't speak to me, then you are very welcome to, as I said, close the loudspeakers, and then you just do your own meditation, something that you find helpful. Because the Buddha gave us so many methods, and it's our job to find out what is really helpful. Okay? Okay. So then, as always, try to sit in a comfortable way, but with a straight back if possible. If it's too painful, if it needs too much effort, again, please don't push, especially when the mind is not in such a fantastic state. Do not push, please. Be kind to yourself. This was one of the homeworks, maybe 2 weeks ago. Appreciate yourself. Be kind to yourself. Become a friend to yourself. Maybe in order to experience that feeling, think about somebody that you like very, very much. A friend that you feel connected to, a friend that you trust. Yeah, sometimes there's problems, but in general, a friend that you're always happy to see, and connect to that feeling, that experience, the sensation. It's not in the head, somewhere in the body. I mean, okay, head also belongs to the body, but the experience, the sensation, it's usually not in the head, it's further down. So experience that feeling of, you know, knowing that there's somebody in your life, or many people, that you can truly say, we have a good connection. And just experience the sensation, not, you know, making any stories out of it. And then think about yourself and try to keep that same sensation. Happy that you exist. Just happy for what you are. A friendly feeling towards yourself. And see what effect it has. Again, you know, Don't go good, bad, whatever. Just look, just observe. It's not about judging. We want to get away from this dualistic thinking. We want to just know, just experience. And if you're not able to keep that soft, tender, loving feeling, then ask yourself, what's going on? The same way you would ask a friend, not in a pushy way, but in a kind way. And the same way as you would be totally open to listen to your friend, you can listen to yourself with the willingness to accept whatever is there and with the willingness to see clearly without judging. It is so necessary that we bring that into the meditation. To see clearly and the willingness to accept whatever is there. Needs courage sometimes. So you check, am I willing to look and just accept? So don't get lost in the story of why things shouldn't be the way they are at the moment. Don't make any stories. Instead, allow yourself to feel whatever is there. And if it's something painful, if it's open and spacious, just stay with it. That's perfect. But if it's something painful, then really ask yourself, where does it hurt? So that we connect with the sensation in the body. Because already that, being connected to your body, calms the nervous system. We're not in a trance, we are present. So be courageous and look. In case there's pain, where does it hurt? And try to touch whatever is there. Anger, fear, despair, tiredness. Be clear, be open. Don't judge it. And just mentally say to yourself, this belongs, so that you don't push it away. Try to see what it does. Again, just observe. It's neither good nor bad what happens when you say this belongs. Just observe. Don't expect anything. Don't manipulate anything. So let your inner wisdom that we all have just say, let it be. It belongs. It has the right to be there. It's a natural part, like the wave in the ocean. And these strong emotions, they're not just absolutely not useful. They have some intelligence and they're trying to tell us something. Sometimes it might help if there's a lot of pain or if it's very tight, if you put your hand gently on the spot where it hurts. The same way you would express your care, your interest and your love to a friend when you put your hand on the friend's shoulder or on his arm. And if we have enough courage to stay with it, we will see that there is a natural, compassionate response. And that hand that you put on the spot is an expression of it. And all of a sudden we get a sense that our awake heart can offer whatever is needed in a very direct and intimate way. Then it becomes like bathing this vulnerable place with the quality of tender presence, with love and compassion. If it seems easier that love and compassion comes from another source, from a loved one, from somebody that you trust, somebody that is wise and you know that cares about you, or a spiritual figure, or from a formless, loving present, just imagine and feel and sense that love pouring into you. And as you breathe in, imagine that you're breathing in that loving, protecting energy of that being in the form of light. Let that energy totally fill you until it fills your whole body. And it's exactly what you need. And as you breathe out, you think that you're breathing out this loving, peaceful energy to share it with all other beings that you know and that you don't know. And see how it brings them what it brought to you. Support, relief, spaciousness, resources to deal with difficult situations, peace, trust, and happiness. So as you breathe in that energy. And this is why I talked about guru at the beginning. So if you do have a guru, just imagine that person in the space in front of you. As you breathe in that energy in the form of light. It fills your heart and your body with all the qualities you would like to have. As you breathe out, because you want other people to be happy, because you want other people to be free from suffering. You share these resources, the trust, the courage, the relief, and the support with all other beings by just breathing out light. And I just let you do that for a while. Try not to get distracted. So it's not like Tonglen, it's just the first step. So, because we have to look after ourselves also. So breathing in, you breathe in whatever you need from whatever source inspires you. Your guru, the Dalai Lama, the Buddha, an other figure. You receive these resources, the courage, and all the rest. But you don't want to keep it, you want to share it. So it can bring peace, trust, the wisdom, what brings happiness and what brings suffering, or whatever else you want to give to all the beings around you. Okay. So how do you feel? Again, you know, some of you who are participating a lot, because it is so important that we know how we feel. So you can put it in the chat, or you can say just one word. Don't say good, okay? Give it some attributes. I know how you felt half an hour before. How do you feel now, right now?
Softer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
And happy to have somebody or someone that you can relate and get strength somehow. I mean, you're looking around you and nothing here. And you look somewhere that you suddenly find something and you say, wow, there is something that you really can connect in a difficult time, which I discover now somebody that I really connect to him now. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, you thank you very much. You connected. So that's
yes,
fine.
but
You know, this is one of these important factors, as we talked the other day about to have a happy life from neuroscience, that we need good connections. You know, we need to remember these people. And I talked about guru because, well, you know, guru is a bit of a tricky thing because so many people say, oh, I don't want a guru, is, you know, is an institution and then I have to do things I don't want to do. So guru is very personal. You see, guru is not, you're not becoming a groupie, you're not becoming a slave. When you can relate to a guru and when you can be open to receive basically the guru's blessings, that when we think about the guru, we calm down and we can do these visualizations where the blessings or the inspiration comes in form of light. We connect to the guru because of his or her qualities, not because of what he or she is. And on top of it, for this guru then to be able to guide you, you need to have this feeling of, this is me. This is, you know, me, kind of the fruit of my practice, these qualities that this person has. So then we can connect. Do you see what I mean, more or less? Yeah, and then we said, you know, good connections is so important in our life. And sometimes we have to work at it, that's true. And then what was the other one? Then we need awareness in order to see what's going on, not necessarily to transform something, but just to see what's going on and having the courage to be present. It's calming your nervous system and we're not getting in a trance and we're not hijacked by these negative emotions. Then the next one is insight, because through awareness, we get insight. We start to see, when I'm inside spacious and when I'm kind of, you know, more or less okay and calm, the world looks different than when I'm totally like this. And then the fourth one was having a purpose in life. Of course, as a Mahayana Dharma practitioner, the purpose of your life is quite clear. Yeah, you want to liberate yourself from negative emotions through these practices in order to benefit all sentient beings. Now, but Israel, I have to protest here when you say, here around me, there's no good. That's not true. Look at all these people who are on the screen here.
look, you're right.
Yeah.
I did exaggerate a bit, but you know.
You will not be happy about one of the verses that we're going to look at this evening. You will see.
There is always somewhere that you can, you know, it's okay, yes.
Yeah.
But there is sometimes, you know, during the week or after a while that you feel that, you know, usually what I try to do is protect myself from all this kind of emotions around me. But you know, sometimes my shield not so strong.
Yeah.
And you know, one arrow is, you know, is got straight into my
Yeah.
not heart, but
Yeah.
into my shoulder.
Okay.
So I took it out.
Good. And you didn't shoot the second one. We also talked about this one evening, isn't it?
I
The
didn't.
second arrow. They say, you know, as the Buddha says, the first arrow, there's nothing we can do. We cannot control other people. We cannot control the outside world. So that's the first arrow. And yes, it hurts. But the second arrow, this one we shoot ourselves. So then also I think 1 week, this was the homework to see, am I shooting a second arrow here or what am I doing? You know, and it hurts, you know, when the first arrow hurts, but our reaction to it can actually shoot another arrow. So, but again, you know, I think I said last time already, be careful. Do not think you have everything just, you know, everything is karma, everything is just like a dream. I have no control over outside conditions. Therefore, I let everything happen as it wants to happen. It's not like this. That's not what the Buddha says. If you can do something about it, by all means do, but not with anger, because it's too strong. And then we shoot arrows. Try to do it with what is helpful, what is not helpful, and helpful in long term. Yeah, please don't misunderstand me or Shantideva that you have to become like a doormat. Okay. Yeah, because as I, you know, also in this meditation, when we look at our strong emotions, give them the place that we need them in order to survive. If you have absolutely no anger and you never get upset, well, you know, then you cannot protect yourself and you have no sign, hey, something is wrong here, because then we let everything happen. We become like a vegetable. Do you understand this? I mean, this is important. Yeah, because otherwise you get misunderstandings here. Okay, so Israel feels a bit softer, he said. Somebody said, Daniela, I think, said, I feel it will be okay. Whoa, yeah. Inside of you, it will be okay. Outside, we don't know. Then Tom is agitated, it's fine. I have space to stay. Try to, you know, make use of the word space, spaciousness, space. I think last time when we did Tonglen, we also started with thinking the body is just space and outside is just space, to create that spaciousness that it's our nature, but we cover it with thoughts and concepts and strong emotions and ideas and opinions and all this. But that would be our nature. And this is, you know, our job is to realize that nature. So in order to do that, we have to be relaxed and we have to have some kind of concentration or stability so that we see the conventional nature of the mind, where the thoughts are actually creating the situation. Yeah. And we don't identify with the thoughts. So a bit like that. Make use of the word space, spaciousness. It really helps. And I think it was Khandro Rinpoche who kind of gave a very good example at one point where she said, well, you see, our mind is like a wild horse, never still, and, you know, as Tom says, agitated and going from one thing to the other, or sleeping maybe, you know, but then we don't realize anything. So she says, if you want to hold that horse and you put it in a very small box, right, then it starts to kick and it does a lot of damage to itself and to the box. I don't know, it's called box also in English. I think so, yeah, where you put the horses, you know, in these small things when you transport them. And he said, but if you let the horse out, but not just out, but something big, but it's like with a fence. Yeah, the fence is our awareness that we know what's going on. With the fence, it will just keep running around, and at one point it will start calming down. I thought that was a very good example. Don't force your mind to do anything that it doesn't want to do. It will go berserk. Relax. You know, maybe the cortex, the intelligence says, that would be a good thing to do, but I really don't feel like doing this now. But then at least you know, and you're very much in touch with what is there. Okay, so let's look at the text. Or anybody else feel something? What about the others? You're zombies.
I feel sadness.
Yeah, which
I didn't. I didn't feel it so much before the meditation, and when I was sitting with myself, it became clearer. And something that surrender to this sadness, like it is there.
And this is really what it is. We can't feel it, we can't heal it. So sadness is okay. Everything is okay, by the way, as long as you put the fence of mindfulness or awareness around, so that it doesn't hijack you, so that you are in the awareness. And it doesn't take that long. All of a sudden, like the horse is running around, the mind has all kinds of states, but all of a sudden we see, if I stay in that awareness feels always the same, calm, spacious, open. And then we start to identify with that awareness. And we know, even though it, sadness, pain, grief, anger, hurt, whatever, we know I can always go into that space of awareness. And that becomes our refuge. But we need courage to do that, because all the other stuff, we want to be happy, we want to be joyful and all this, and calm and patient and compassionate and all that, but we're not. Yeah. So then the other things that kind of cover this basic goodness that we have, we don't want to acknowledge them. And then they make a lot of havoc underneath in our more subtle mind. Yeah. And slowly, they seep into our thoughts. They create habits and tendencies and all these kinds of things. So again, for the 1 millionth time, awareness is really necessary. And not just the word awareness, you need to train, you need to practice it, you need to sit and just train the mind to be present. Then things will happen, things will transform. Okay, anybody else? Okay, then, so last time we got until verse 101, and we had said that we had decided to follow Mahayana teachings, isn't it? And so then Shantideva, and as Shantideva, so we had decided that we're going to imitate Shantideva. So he said, those who wish to cause me suffering are like the Buddhas bestowing waves of blessings, as they open the door for my not going to an unfortunate realm should be here. This is missing. Why should I be angry with them? Yeah, so that kind of, I think the homework was, I can't remember. Anybody remembers what the homework was? Something like, in this difficult, I have to decided to follow the Buddha, how to, me, the compassionate person, because that's what I want to be. I want to be compassionate. I want to be patient. How do I react now? Before we're reacting, we make the gap, we pause, and we go, oh, as the compassionate person, not as the Bodhisattva, that is very high. Yeah, but as a good person, as a patient person, or whatever you want to be, how do I react? Did anybody try this out? Okay. Okay. It's a bit like me. You have to write down what I'm telling you, otherwise you forget the homework. And me, I usually remember on Wednesday afternoon before the talk that I have to look what the homework was. And then if I have the opportunity, then I do the homework and I train, because it's also for me, it's not just for you. It's not that I can do these things and I have these things always present. But I found them, you know, especially as I told you, we have a little bit difficult situation here in the board of the new board of the center. And I was almost happy that there was difficulty, because otherwise these verses become boring. You know, these verses have no meaning when you don't have somebody who is kind of making you angry or making you train patient. And then again, you can see, wow, yeah, that's true. He says this, so I should apply that. And then slowly, it starts to work. And the aversion towards that person has almost gone, which was very strong like a few months ago. So it works. It's great. But you need to train. You need to have somebody that is pulling your leg. Okay, so we continue. Then we go to verse 102.
May I say something?
Yes, of course.
I did try to apply the homework, but at the beginning of last class, you said that you'll give us homework, the same homework that you gave the week before, to appreciate ourselves.
Yes.
And by the end, you added to it compassionate and love. So I tried to apply both.
Yeah, that's good.
It wasn't enough for me, because this week was very intense for me, for everybody here. And I needed all the antidotes, all the tools the Dharma gave me. And we have many tools, thanks God. I needed the guru, I needed all the antidotes I could use, and it wasn't enough. I was impatient to the situation, to people in politics. I didn't want it, but it was there. I had times when I was depressed, impatient. It was, and I thought about karma, and it helped. And I thought about stop putting your finger outside, look at them, look inside. And it helped a bit. Feeling and not being upset with myself, but appreciate me and thinking you're a good person. Stop feeling bad about the fact that you feel bad about it. Wasn't easy.
No.
And feeling love and compassion to certain people in politics was too much for me. And I tried to, because I want to do it. And I said, fake it until you make it. Just say the words. Say the words. But it was so far away.
Yeah. I think maybe the problem there is that you want to feel compassion for them together with their actions that they do. That's the problem. You know, this is why His Holiness always says, separate the person from the action. Because of course, how can you have compassion for, you know, harm? How can you feel kind towards such unskillful actions? How can you do that? Yeah, and it's okay to say what this person is doing, this is totally wrong. May I never do such things. This is usually the antidote for the anger towards a person. Yeah. So
but I had to admit, this week I found it difficult. I admit I'm ashamed, but I found it difficult to want him to be happy. It was difficult for me. I wanted to be able to feel. I worked about it, and then I thought maybe it makes me feel depressed, unwell. I'm not happy. I don't have a happy mind. Maybe it's too big for me, and I should find other things to do. It was a stressful week. You know, talking about. I had these difficulties of. I'm not allowed to feel depressed or unhappy when I think about the people in the south, like Inbal and Nurit and Iri, and definitely not when I think about the people in Gaza Strip. I certainly don't want to be in their shoes, to have their karma. But I still had to find my place to look at this mind and make sure that this mind is a happy mind.
maybe the word happy is also not so good and not so what we need, you
Just
know?
relax.
Just relax, or spacious. Again, use spacious. Just be spacious. I mean, why do you think I started the meditation like this today? And I did say at the beginning, you don't force yourself to feel good, and don't force yourself to, you know, that all the antidotes should then work. We're in training, which is training. At one point it will work. If we keep doing it, it will work. But if we think, you know, we're so fantastic and so great and so wonderful, we just apply it once and boom, and it works, especially in such a big situation. You know,
so two
you know, again, wait, just because, you know, my memory about what I want to say is really so, or again, remember what it means, what the definition of patience is. Patience doesn't mean to just sit and not do anything and grit your teeth. Patience is a mind that says, if I can act, I want to act, but not to harm, but to help the situation. If I cannot, if there's a danger that I harm, and again, you know, it talks about long-term harm, especially yourself, kind of, you know, doing with a lot of, like, you get this person maybe in front of you and you shout at him to make him feel bad or whatever. That would be harm, when you react out of anger, because anger has a wish to harm, you know, or when you think about these difficult objects, instead of thinking, oh, may he be happy, may he be well. No, think, may he be wise. May he have access to his also wisdom somewhere, something like that. Because happy there is our ego coming, no, he does not deserve it. He should suffer for what he did, isn't it? But suffering doesn't make people better people. It doesn't make them wiser people. So like that. But yeah, be patient with yourself. And as you say, very wisely, Aura, when you say, I didn't succeed, so I thought maybe the object is too big. Yes, the object is too big. Venerable Antonio, he always gave us this really nice example. If you go first time to India, and because you don't, some of you might have heard it, but it's okay. You go first time to India, and of course you don't want to be the tourist. So you think, you know, very brave. So you take a local bus, you know, with the wooden benches, and from Delhi you go up to Dharamsala, and you feel really great amongst, you know, squashed in amongst all the Indians with the chickens and the goats and whatever, and it smells really bad. But you feel good because you think, now I belong, I'm not a tourist, but you know, you're a tourist, whether you want to know. But anyway, I'm talking out of experience because that's what I did. And didn't want to be a tourist. So then, you know, the bus stops and there's something to eat, and you see there's this dhaba, and you can say, dhaba is like a tent where they have food they put into a big plate. And you can say, I want some of this, I want some of this, I want some of this. And then you see the Indians, they're getting big heaps of rice and very small heaps of like vegetable and dal. So, but you are the one who, you know, we are used to lots of vegetables, lots of dal, very little rice. Okay, but so you'd say, oh, I want more of this, I want less rice, whatever. And then you see them eating and you're hungry and you start eating, and it's so hot, it's so spicy, yeah? And you have all these vegetables and all this dal and very little rice to kind of calm it down a little bit, the fire of the chili. But you don't want to waste the food also, because you see these, you know, these poor people, the people who are poor, what would they think if you just leave half of it in a plate, you eat it all? I tell you, you'll be in bed 2 weeks. Your body cannot take it. So it's the same with patience. You have to start small. So then, you know, once you make the experience, next time you can still go on the wooden bench, doesn't matter, but you take lots of rice and very little vegetables. So you kind of, you weaken your object of patience, not the biggest one. Okay, does that example talk to you? Because otherwise, then there's no appreciation for ourselves, because there's no success. We do need success, you know, from time to time, so that we see that the practice works. Because otherwise we lose faith and trust. Okay? Okay, so if you want to say something, just open the microphone and say, yeah? Otherwise, we need to continue here a bit with the verses. So why does he say here in 101, he says, they are like the Buddhas bestowing waves of blessings. The Buddhas bestow blessing. The Guru bestows blessings because they make us practice. When we practice, we create virtue, we purify negative karma, we create less imprints to be reborn in the lower state. So that's why the Buddhas are very helpful to us, or the Guru. But then, why is that one who makes me suffer? Why is he closing the door to unfortunate states? Because we know how it is. Once negative karma ripens and we don't create new one, is finished. So this imprint that comes from suffering now, also the imprint that creates the suffering that we have now, this one is finished. And it cannot grow on our mind stream because you all know karma grows. And it will then at the time of death have no more power to throw me into a lower state. So this is why he says, why should I be angry with them? It continues. So the verses from here to the end of this chapter, Shantideva is starting to lay the foundation for chapter 8 afterwards, which is the meditation or the concentration chapter, where there's especially this technique of Tonglen, giving and taking. Yeah. So he is kind of putting the basis or the fundament so that we are really able to do that afterwards. And it's not just, kind of trying to fake it. So that's from here. So here's all the reason why we should not be angry at the ones that we think are creating our suffering. Now, of course, the government, the politicians, they are the conditions for this suffering that is happening now, but not the cause. The cause is what we have created in the past, not in this life, but in previous lives. So then, again, Shantideva's ego mind comes up, who still fights for having, some reasons to be allowed to get angry. And very often in the beginner's courses, when we talk about patience, people kind of give me certain situations and they say, like this mind here, like Shantideva's ego mind, and says, but surely if it is like this, I am allowed to get angry, But you see, you are allowed to get angry anytime you want, but then it has consequences. The Buddha is not saying, Shantideva is not saying you're not allowed to get angry. They're just explaining what happens when we act with anger. You see, if we're just angry and we don't act, we're practicing patience. So don't underestimate that thing. When we're able not to act, we're practicing patience. And if on top of it, behind this kind of maybe a mind that holds a bit because it doesn't know how to relax, behind that we have the motivation. May I not harm, may I not harm, may I not harm, not me and not others. Me by creating more negative karma. Also harming me, obsessively thinking about the situation that happened or that is again and again and again and again, and not seeing what else is happening at the side. So this is, what is present in patience, the wish not to harm and to be able to resist the anger that wants to say or do or write something. Okay? Okay, so now his ego mind is saying, but what if someone should obstruct my gaining merit? With him too, it is incorrect. So, okay, so that's the ego mind here, who says, but somebody who makes me angry, when I'm angry, I cannot create virtue because I'm angry and create more negative karma. So surely I should be allowed to get angry at him. But then Shantideva, his wisdom mind, is saying, with him too, it is incorrect to be angry. For since there is no fortitude similar to patience, surely I should put it into practice. So again, it's all about our decision. Yeah. What do we want? Do we want to practice patience? And again, we are in training. Nobody's asking you to be perfect. We are just training. A Buddha is perfect in patience. And these 6 perfections are a training to become a Buddha. Then we can do it. If we never train, we will not become a fully awakened being. So you see, usually the troublemakers we see as hindrance, especially in the Dharma group, isn't it? When people are difficult and not doing what we want them to do and all this, and we get upset every time we see them, we hear them, we get angry, and we actually say, they are preventing me from practicing Dharma because I can't go to that group anymore, they're too difficult, isn't it? And then we start maybe looking for another group, or we change the practice, or the guru, or the teacher, or whatever. But if we take our unwise and dissatisfied mind with us, that, you know, the conditions have to be perfect for me to practice Dharma, like to sit down and meditate, or to do a puja, or to chant something, or whatever, I mean, then we can wait for a long time, yeah? Or when you are at home, also, maybe in a city it doesn't happen so much, like how the mind is thinking. But I remember I was in Dharamsala, living at Tushita for almost 20 years. So I have like, there's a long building and 2 rooms are next to each other, and of course you can hear everything that is happening in the other room. So then one would proclaim, okay, starting from tomorrow, 4 o'clock, I'm going to do a 1-month retreat or 2-month retreat, so that everybody knows and everybody stops their life and is quiet and silent, because they, so that they respect that I'm starting retreat. And then, of course, they forget. Sometimes people even put like big signs on their doors, like silent, I'm in retreat, forgetting that the center is a working place where people come and do courses and all this. And you can sit in your meditation, maybe on patience, and somebody underneath your window is going blah, 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 and you really get angry. And you're fantasizing they're doing this on purpose. Or you go like, okay, I'm meditating on patience, I'm practicing patience, but still they should stop talking. These kind of thoughts. And this is what we are trying. This is what we're trying to see. We have this inner discourse. Why now these people are preventing my meditation? And what happened to me at one point, maybe I already told you the story also. My neighbor was very noisy. So, the first thing when she came out of her room, you would hear the handle going clock, clock. And then she would come out and then it would go. And she would spit like down the drain. So first you have to get used to that noise. I mean, there's people who they go like this when they hear this noise. I really got used to it. It doesn't disturb me anymore at all. I tell you, I am so grateful to that person, because she forced me to practice patience. But anyway, that first, usually she would get up at 8 o'clock in the morning or at 9. So I thought, well, if I start session at 4, then, at least the first session is quiet, it's okay. What happens? 4 o'clock in the morning, I hear she's getting up and starting to cook and a lot of noise and this. And I got so angry. I got my, all the things I needed for the retreat, because Tushita was very quiet at that time. It was like rainy season. I think there was no courses. And I got all my stuff together and I went down to the Bodhisattva Gompa to do my session, because I felt so not respected and how dare she and wah. And then, after maybe, I don't know, half hour, all of a sudden the monkeys started jumping on the roof of that Gompa, because it has a flat roof. A thunderstorm was it was monsoon, yeah? So the thunderstorm was kind of breaking out. There was a lot of noise around me. And I was sitting in meditation, not even needing to practice patience. All of a sudden, the penny fell. I went like, look at you. Sound is sound. What are you doing? You know, whether it's sound monkeys, thunderstorm, absolutely no reaction. Sound from this lady who is your neighbor, you freak out. What are you doing? So I got my things. I went back up to the room and I did my 1 month retreat in the room with her making noise at the side, and she didn't disturb me anymore. So, but because I had been practicing patience with her maybe 2 years before it clicked, but for 2 years, it never worked. At 4 o'clock in the morning, it didn't work. But because of the training and practicing, trying not to react, trying not to get angry, working with it, at the point, the moment came where, zack, it worked. And then I really started to like her. First, I really hated her. For 2 years, I really hated her. And then she stayed another year in that room next to me. And we have become really good friends. So because she taught me patience, she really did. And now, you know, noise around me and all that, no problem, thanks to her. So, but it's not as big an object as your government. This I do admit. Yeah, it's just sound. So, okay, but we have again, you know, he says, there is no fortitude similar to patience. There's nothing that creates more merit than practicing patience. So if you practice patience, you can drop everything else. And think, wow, you know, I did not react. I practiced patience. Don't think patience is when you open up and you're not angry anymore. That's not patience. Patience is the wish not to harm and the ability to shut down and, you know, not to shut down, shut up and not to react with body or speech so that you're not creating more negative karma, but also not to follow negative thoughts. May he rot in hell, blah, 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 and all these kind of things. That's patience. So very often we think it's like being open and loving and compassionate. It's not, you know. So patience is the best practice. This is what Shantideva is telling us. And it's one of the 6 perfections. So if we have no object, I mean, how can we train? But then again, you know, if you feel that it's slowly working and your neighbor and you're not getting upset anymore, they can make as much noise as you want, as they want, and you're not, you know, you're not closing up, you're not getting nervous, please, because that's what happened to me the other day. Somebody came to say me, well, you know, of course it's my karma that this person that I had a problem with, of course it's my karma that you react to me in this unkind way, but I am practicing patience. So that, you know, never tell anybody this, that they are your object of patience, because that's quite cruel. And nobody likes to hear it. So it's basically saying you're very unkind, you're impossible, but I'm practicing patience. So thank you very much. You can think that, you know, but you would not say that. So Pema Chodron says in her commentary, instead of seeing the troublemakers as hindrances, we can see them as helpers. It's exactly the means we need to learn to be patient. Sometimes you really feel that difficult people prevent us from properly practicing Dharma, because then we see the negative side, isn't it, of us? But they show us, if they weren't there, then I could practice, then we think, yeah? If they would not be there, I could practice properly. And we are convinced that this is true. If they would not be there, I would be loving, compassionate, a good person, nice person, isn't it? Have you ever thought like this? Yeah. No? You never thought that people are preventing you from being kind? No? Okay, so I'm the only one again here.
You're not the only one.
And I'm not the only one. Okay. Thank you. I don't mind to be the only one. I'd be very happy, you know, if I'm the only one. And you are all so realized and advanced that you never think like that. But they show us a very clear mirror where we are. And this we need to know, you know. We need to know where we are, because otherwise we stop practicing. At some point we decided to be patient, right? She says. With this argument, we might even stop to go to the Dharma group or stop our Dharma practice altogether by saying, well, the people in the group are too difficult. I'm not going there anymore. Okay, so then we can do definitely one more verse. So at least we've done two. So 103, it is due to my own failings. I am not patient with this enemy. Then it is only I who am preventing myself from practicing this cause for gaining merit. So slowly, slowly, we start to see these difficult people as a cause, a condition, so that we can actually create merit. So instead of, you know, instead of kind of not wanting them to be there, we start to actually welcome them, not for what they're doing. Yeah, not, you know, continue with the war and continue to be prime minister and continue like that. Not like this. Yeah, but as long as they are there and there's nothing we can do, we see them as somebody helping me to actually create positive karma, to create positive energy. Wow, this is difficult to accept, isn't it? So, so then sometimes also we get discouraged, you know, when it's just too difficult. So, but try not to miss the opportunity, because then the next verse, maybe the next verse is also, at one point Shantideva says, you know, like those who harm me, they're very few. And those who, the beggars that I can give money to are many, many. So then maybe that doesn't fit so much in your situation.
May I say something about this verse?
Yes.
Before we go on to 104, 103, he says that I'm the one who am preventing myself.
Yes.
For him, that's the end of the story. For us, we need to practice patience for ourselves, because we are very upset with ourselves.
Yes.
The Tibetans don't know it.
But then also, because of this other person that makes you upset, you can practice patience for yourself. So he's still the cause. And actually, this good that you mention it, because we can look at 104, that he shows us our not being logical. So he says, if without it, something does not occur, and if with it, it does come to be, then since this enemy would be the cause of patience, even if it's for myself, yeah, how can I say that he prevents it? So you see, when we know that something causes something, we're not saying it's a hindrance. If we want flowers and you put seeds in your garden, you're not saying the seeds can become a hindrance to the flowers. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't make sense. So we know that in order to develop patience, we need people who harm us, or we need difficult situations, or we need the Dharma to work very slowly. You know, these three kinds of patience: difficult situations, difficult people, and the Dharma who doesn't work as quick as we want. These three things become, these three situations become the cause for us to have patience. So how can we say that the cause becomes a hindrance? Because without these three situations, there will be no patience. It's as simple as that. Does that make sense? You see, it's like when you want to have strong muscles, you go to the gym, isn't it? And sometimes these machines are very difficult because you need to put a lot of effort. Then you get the muscles, and you're not going to say the machines are a hindrance for my muscles. The machines become a hindrance if they're too difficult and we don't want to use them anymore. and you always go to the, you know, to those weak ones, then how can you develop muscles? It might feel easy and wonderful and not difficult to do, but inside, you know, well, what a waste of time. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, with the gym. So, you know, I mean, samsara is a permanent gym, a gym that doesn't end as long as we are in samsara. And we don't even need a subscription. We don't need to pay. The problems come delivered free house, so that we can develop our muscles of first patience, then love and compassion. Okay? We always forget, you know, when we talk about anger, then very often we say, oh, the antidote for anger is love. It is not. The antidote for anger is patience. And on top of that, when we're not getting agitated anymore, on top of that, we develop love and compassion. Yeah, we cannot make two big steps here. And this is why I said, you know, from here on until the end of this chapter, he's really building the foundation for all the arguments, the foundations for not getting angry and to be patient, and then to exchanging self for others. And then on top of that, do, you know, love and compassion. Shall we do another verse? I'm not... So you see, of course, we would love to be our life easy and nice and comfortable. But, you know, the question is, would it be good for our Dharma practice? What do you think? So many people come to the Dharma because their life is not is not easy. I mean, so many of my school friends that I went to school with, they say, oh yeah, you know, it's very nice what you're doing, but I don't need it, I'm happy. Yeah.
There is, Anila, is littlest, I don't know, a superficial, maybe kitschy phrase, but I think it's connected,
Okay.
which is saying that life is like riding bicycle. If it's too easy, so you're downward go.
Yeah.
Something like that. If it's too easy, so you're not developing or you're going.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is. And this is why Shantideva was telling us, if we miss the opportunity to create positive energy in order to become a Buddha, because somebody is harming us, we are standing in our own way. Yeah. And we become the one who is preventing us from attaining liberation and enlightenment. Because patience is one of the 6 perfections, whether we want or not. Okay, so maybe we stop here, I think. Okay, and we do a few minutes of loving kindness for ourselves and then for all other beings. Yeah, again, try to use these words until you have a sensation, until you know how it feels, because this also, you see, this is why sitting and meditating on these things is so important, because if we only know them in the head, it's a good step already, but it won't work. It needs to come from the head to the heart. And then you can feel it. And this is why I keep asking you, how do you feel? So that, not because you need to feel a certain way, but so that you know how it feels. And then when you feel, you know, then your intelligence comes in and says, this feels much better. Not with words, but just grasping something, you know. We have a good German word when we have really understood, and it means begreifen, and greifen means grasping. And we use it for the intellect. When the intellect has really got it, the German word is begreifen, like we hold it, it's there. Yeah, maybe you have something in Hebrew like this, because I see sometimes German and Hebrew, they have like almost same definitions for certain things. How do you say in Hebrew when you really got it, when you really understand something?
Hikashot.
Mm-hmm. And is there in English would be?
Attachment.
Attachment.
Like kashrut is attachment.
Okay. But when you really understand something intellectually, you know, this is what I'm saying.
Oh, tovana. Like it's tovana banglit.
Insight.
Insight, yeah, insight.
Insight, yeah, that's good also. Seeing deeply, you know, seeing clearly, seeing deeply. So that's also very good. Yeah. Okay.
In Hebrew, we have a phrase that says that he dropped the coin.
Yeah, we also in German. The coin has dropped into the machine. So it's kind of it drops into the machine. So finally what we want is coming out.
Yeah.
This is the penny drops. Yeah, so that's good. That's a good one also. Okay. So let's just sit and without any expectations that we should be perfect, but still knowing some people will have to close their microphones if that's possible, because we don't want to make anybody angry by creating noise. So somebody might think that if your mic is open, that you're hindering their Dharma practice. You're hindering them developing kindness. That would be not so skillful. So anyway, we try to relax. Maybe, you know, forget about the word happiness and all these kinds of things. To just be open, spacious, relax. To understand that as long as we are in samsara, even this war stops, even your government changes, even, you know, all of a sudden Arabs and Jews and Christians, they're not fighting anymore and thinking their belief system is the best. Even if we understand that sharing is much better than just keeping it to myself, we will still have problems. It's a good one to understand also. It's not to belittle what is happening in Israel at the moment, but just maybe to remember, even in times of seeming peace, there's also problems. And that's not the fault of the government. That is not the fault of religion. This is the fault of not understanding what brings happiness and what brings suffering. And this we also have in our own mind, having wrong views that my happiness is more important than somebody else's happiness, or having wrong views that some people deserve to be happy and free of suffering and others don't. The wrong view that I am separate from others, I'm different, I'm special. So we use very simple words. May I be safe. And you know, so many things can go into there. When we go, may I be protected from physical and mental harm. And it's not just outside physical and mental harm. It's also inside physical and mental harm. Physical harm by doing things that are not good for the body. Mental harm by creating more negative karma and letting these unhelpful emotions run totally free. And we don't give them space so that they can fizzle out. Don't pull yourself together, there's no point, but be aware. So we can add that. We have the courage to accept whatever is there with an open heart. You can use other words. It needs to talk to you. It needs to be meaningful. If possible, simple. Just this one. May I be safe? May I be at ease, spacious, calm, peaceful, and loving. And may I be able to find joy and ease even in these difficult times. May I allow myself to be joyful, because sometimes we don't allow ourselves. People think we are cold-hearted when we're not depressed and angry in difficult times. May I still find moments of humor where I can laugh and relax. May I not be afraid to be joyful. May I be safe. And then again, as you breathe in all the good energy that is always around us. The realized beings, the Buddhas, Jesus, other realized beings, because everybody has the potential to be free from negative emotions. So we're not the only ones, you know. Or we're not going to be the first ones who attain that state. So we think we are constantly surrounded by these benevolent kind of energy. And as you breathe in again, you breathe in that light, which is the nature of our mind. Spacious and clear. And we feel that this light is nurturing our resources that we seem to be totally depleted. Gives us relief, support, understanding. It fills the body and it dissolves the solidity of the body. So even the body becomes spacious. Then all of a sudden, you know, the borders between me and others is gone and the body has become transparent, body of light. And it shines like the sun. It shines in all directions, to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south, above and below. And we're sharing this good energy with all others. And we're sending it with the thought, may all beings be safe. May all beings be protected from physical and mental harm. May all beings be able to feel their spaciousness, their wisdom, being peaceful and loving. And may beings, especially in these difficult times, find moments of joy and humor and laughter. Okay, my dears. So, Those is writing somebody. You let me feel when I was in the hospital last week. Thank you so much. Okay. What's the homework? You can guess. Just a thought. Again, we are feeding the mind with thoughts. So homework is the thought whenever somebody gets on your nerves, then you think, maybe thinking he's the cause for me to practice patience might be a bit too difficult. But you can feed the mind with the thought, he or she is not a hindrance to my happiness. I have a choice how I react. And again, maybe happiness is not the right word. Because of course, how can you be happy in such a situation? I understand, but he or she is not a hindrance to my peace of mind, to my being reasonable, to my, what else could you think? To my creating merit, basically, and then also don't forget, the merit we are creating now will then bring as a fruit enlightenment. It doesn't mean that necessarily your life is getting better now. That doesn't mean that. What we're creating now, we're creating the causes for enlightenment, so that at one point it will be finished. The side effect can be that your life is getting better now. That can be the side effect. A side effect definitely is that you're not so tossed around by your negative emotions anymore. Yeah. But outside conditions, we have no control. This is really our past karma that we don't see. That is ripening. I'm not saying you deserve it. It's not like this. It's just that causes from the past that we have created that ripen. So can you use some of this? Like, for example, the first one, which is the more difficult one. Wow, he's giving me the occasion to practice patience. How wonderful. That's difficult. So don't take you, Prime Minister. It's too, it's too much. Take somebody who's a bit easier. Or in a very reasonable way. I have a choice. He's not the cause for my unhappiness at the moment. To give yourself, just to become aware of the choice. Now, I'm not saying it should work. Just have these thoughts ready and then see what happens. It doesn't, we always think, whoa, I have to think it once and then anger is gone. Not like this. We are slowly training the mind. And at one point, it will definitely work. Remember when I said, in order to find gold, you have to dig a lot of earth. But the moment you find one nugget, no matter how small it is, you continue to dig. But if you never find anything, because what you're trying to do is too difficult, you give up. Yeah. So remember the moments when it worked. That's when you find the gold. And when you feel that these thoughts, all of a sudden, something, the penny drops, as Tom was saying, and something works, keep your awareness on this. So that, again, neuroscience, I'm talking like I'm the big neuroscientist here, so that these connections can be made. They can only be made when you put your awareness on it and you can hold it. Yeah, if it's just a flash and you go to the next problem, doesn't work. Okay?
Anila, can I ask something?
Yes. If it's not too difficult, because we need to end. We need to stop. Tired. But otherwise, you can also keep it, the question. So, but ask, and then we'll see.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask why when the last week, when the situation was very, very worst, I tried to be aware for my fear. I try to control the feelings of scared, but every time that I hear the sirens, I I can't hold, and I can't hold the fear. I can't control the fear. I tried to.
No, Joyce, maybe I just interrupt you. No, I didn't ask you to control the fear.
Yeah.
Because when you want to control the fear, you want it to go away, then it makes it worse.
Uh-huh.
Just
Okay,
to be
because
aware of it. Just to be aware of it and know that you are aware of the fear. And as I said, put your hand on it also, you know, and just be aware of it. And then be aware of the sensation of the fear, because it doesn't need to go away. This is the thing. This is the mistake that we're making. We're not doing these things in order for the difficult situations to go away. We're doing these things in order for us to understand what these difficult situations are. And for that, we need to watch them.
Okay. Thank you
Because
so
also
much.
when you are aware of the fear and you say, yeah, okay, I'm afraid. It's normal to be afraid. Also, you see, when you are in a situation like this, the body takes on, so I saw it in Israel when the sirens went off once in the south, the body starts to react and there's nothing they can do. It's the same as when somebody is afraid of heights, you know, they can pull themselves together and they can really try to go over that bridge. And in the middle, they can't move anymore because the body is reacting. Yeah, so don't be surprised that this is happening. You're not the only one. Yeah. But it's not about not being afraid, because as I'm saying, you know, fear has intelligence. If you get fearless, you go out when the bombs are falling. That's not what we want. But for the fear not to hijack you, just be aware of it. And then last time I told you a few things. Connect to the earth. Yeah, feel how the earth is supporting you, for example. Feel where the body is, when you're sitting, where the body is touching the earth. Or look around in your room, you know, look for an object, name it, stay with the object. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anila.
Things like this, okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Especially this connecting with the earth and saying, the earth is supporting me.
Yeah.
And also to think about impermanence. This will stop. Everything will stop at one point and change into something else. But especially to come into the present. Or count your breath, you know, to 5 and then backwards. And then the nervous system starts to calm down a bit.
Okay.
But don't lock onto the fear and say, oh, I want to control it. Not like this. Give it space.
Thank you. Because that's what happened to me, that I tried to control because I don't want my son to see me afraid.
And don't underestimate that thing, you know, it's a big thing what is happening at the moment in Israel. So of course you're afraid. That's fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So please, all of you, take good care inside, like, you know, the mental hygiene, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, but don't suppress anything. If you want to clean the dirt, we have to look at it, and be safe. And we keep kind of dedicating for you here with all the pujas. Tomorrow is one, Friday is one, and then we start the Nunes. So next Wednesday is either off or just discussion group. You can decide. Why don't you take an evening off, I would say. Relax.
Discussion group?
Relax.
Actually, I'm also not be available. So
okay. So you have the evening off. Enjoy it. Relax. It's wonderful. Not really, because it's like, the Buddha also told us that we have to rest sometimes. Okay? So enjoy and enjoy that it's Sakadawa. Next Wednesday is Sakadawa. So maybe the Dharma friends want to put on something different. I don't know. You know, maybe reading sutra or doing Chenresic practice or something like that. Why not? Sakadawa is the most important day in the Buddhist year. And think of me not eating, not drinking, probably suffering a lot, but doing it all voluntarily.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay,
Thank you.
so see you in 2 weeks, hopefully, and enjoy the rest.
Thank you. Thank you
Very
very
Thank you
much.
very much,
Bye.
Thank you
Anila.
very much, Camila.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.